All right, guys, welcome to the studio. We're here at Profoto Loft in Toronto. We're going to do a little photo shoot for you guys. We have our beautiful model Sarah with us. We also have John, my assistant. I have a little bit of a team here of two people working the camera. So this is this is something that you guys can do as well on your own. If you're if you want to just get ready for the wedding season, you're a little bit out of practice. I think we've all had a lot of cancellations and postponements and things like that over the last couple of years, so you might be a little bit rusty. This is a great way to rent a local studio, hire a model, and do some practice. And today we're going to show you the new Profoto Click Softbox. So John, if you want to grab that and hand it over, thank you. So guys, this is really exciting because if you're a photographer that is maybe new to Profoto, or someone that shoots with really small lights like the A10 or the A10X, for example, this is the modifier you want. It's very exciting because this is probably one of the easiest modifiers to set up, and when it comes in the bag, it's literally like this. So it just comes in already kind of stuck together, I guess, and then ultimately all you have to do is just do this, and you have an octabox ready to go. So what's really cool about this too is that it has a magnetic backing, so there is no fitting your A10 onto a bracket. You're literally going to magnet that over. And maybe John, you could grab the A10 for me, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. So this is literally all we're doing. So the bracket and the light stand part is all included with the modifier, and you can take this on and off relatively quickly. So inside there is a baffle, and obviously we have our interior baffle as well. And then on the back you see the magnetic rings, and John, if you can grab that. And basically to take this down is extremely easy and quick. So that's basically it. It's like one of the easiest modifiers ever. It's very quick and very convenient. It also has, on the handle here, it has basically a handle that you can hold the light in yourself as well, and or have an assistant basically hold it for you without really needing to mount it on a stand. One of the accessories that we're going to use later and show you guys is the Softgrids. So John, maybe you can help me put this on. It'll just be easier to show. And it's kind of like a sock that goes over top. And what this will do is, if you guys are familiar with grids, this is soft grid, so it means it's squishy. But ultimately what's going to happen is the light is going to get filtered and prevent the light from spreading out. You're going to have a bit more control of where that light spill goes as you're shooting. So if you want to keep the light on your model but off the wall, for example, this is a modifier that is extremely helpful in doing that. So we're going to show you how we utilize that later. So I guess without further ado, let's get photographing. And we're going to use this set as our first shot for you guys. And we're going to basically use the Click as our main light source, and we're going to kind of build from there and add to it. So John, why don't I give you this? You can get the A10 in there, make sure you turn it on, and I'm also going to grab, maybe you can grab me my camera as well. That'd be awesome. So as you guys can see, it's a really fun modifier, really nice, really easy to hold, and it's extremely light as well. All right, John, thank you. All right, we're going to get you to hold this. Okay, guys, so, as a wedding photographer, what I do is initially when I walk into any scene, I usually just look around and analyze the lighting. So right now we have some ambient light in here. It's basically nighttime. It's pitch black outside. So what we want to do is make sure that the light that we want is, the light that's on, it's either going to influence the scene a little bit or not, and we have control on how to do that. So the first couple of shots I'm going to take, they're going to be kind of tester shots, and what that will do is it will kind of give me a starting point. If you kind of think of a canvas, you think of painters painting on a canvas, you start with a blank canvas and you kind of add to that canvas. So we're going to do that with light, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to get our ambient ambient light. So John, we're not even going to use the light right now. So right now I am at, let's see, I'm going to go to f2. I want to get a nice shallow depth of field. We're going to go to ISO 100 and 1/125th of a second. And let's see what that looks like. We're just going to take an ambient shot. Perfect. So it has a little bit of that light coming in. It's a nice warm light, so I don't mind it at all. And we're basically going to overpower that light with our A10 and the Click softbox or octabox. So we're going to start with TTL. This is how I typically start all my lighting. And basically what it does is going to determine the flash power for me based on the settings that I set on my camera. Those are all, I'm basically shooting that in manual, so they're staying consistent. And then the light is going to adjust the power for me to give me the proper exposure. Now, it's not always perfect, but I'd say about 90% of the time it is, and it's always a great starting point. And what's really cool, if you're not familiar with Profoto, is that we do have a hybrid mode. And what that means is, let's say the flash fires and it gives me a flash power of 5.6. If I think that looks really good and I want to keep that, I basically lock that into manual mode, and it's going to keep it at 5.6. I don't have to start that process again. So let's see how it does. All right, we're just going to take a quick test shot. I'm going to make sure I'm on TTL, and here we go. Okay, one shot. Perfect. So I'm very happy with this. What's the power there, John? 5.7. So I was actually pretty close in my estimation. So 5.7 is great. I'm happy with that. I'm going to lock it to manual mode, and now basically, as long as John doesn't change his position relative to our subject, everything's going to stay the same. So let's take a few different shots here. Perfect. Love that, Sarah. Good. Yeah, awesome. Give me one right to the camera here. That's it. Awesome. Good. Love that. Beautiful. Nice. Lean into me a little bit. That's it. Good. Okay, perfect. So we have a couple of different poses that we can pick from, and that's a pretty good shot. John is about maybe 2 meters away. Now, if you guys know, with light, it's a pretty small modifier. So if we wanted to get a very, very even softer lighting, we would bring that light in closer and closer to our model. I like lighting to be a little bit edgy. I don't love the crazy super soft lighting personally. I often work with hard light myself. So this is kind of a nice in-between where we're still getting a relatively larger modifier than a bare flash head, for example, but we're keeping it a little bit of a distance, so we have that nice mix between hard light and soft light. So it's exactly kind of what I like. So I think now, John, what we're going to do is let's position this in about the same spot. You can even probably leave that there and grab a light stand, and we can build this scene now. So while I look at the photo, she's lit really nicely and everything's looking good, but the background is a little bit dark. So why don't we create more of an airy kind of feel? And for that, we're going to utilize a really cool, I guess it's a modifier. It's another tool in the tool bag for sure. And it is the OCF adapter, which is really cool because what you can ultimately do is now use your OCF accessories on an A10 or an A10X flash. So if you guys are familiar with those two, they have very different flash head sizes. And so you're not really, the OCF line was designed before the smaller flashes were introduced. So the diameter of the flash head differs quite a bit. So now this is a tool where you can take a bracket and put another A10 on top of that, and then now utilize your OCF accessory. So let's show them how to do that. I'm going to give you this, and if you can grab me that 1x1, 1x3 softbox there. So this is the bracket here. This is a Profoto bracket. It's not a universal bracket, but what it will allow you to do is to basically click your A10 or A10X on here, and now you can see the diameter of that flash head has now changed from here to here. So now when we get an OCF accessory that we weren't able to use before, now we can lock that in, and now you can put on a 1x3 by 1x3 softbox, for example. You can put on a magnum reflector, any of the other OCF accessories or modifiers that you basically couldn't use before on your smaller flashes. So this is a really great tool to have as well, especially if you're used to using smaller flashes. You now have a softbox that's just basically for that, for those models, for the A10 or the A1X, and you now have the ability to use your OCF accessories that now can also serve your B10, B10Xs, B10X Plus, and continue using them with the smaller flashes as well. So what I want to do now is I want to take this softbox. So the reason why I chose a smaller softbox is just so that there's that similar softness in the frame. I'm going to keep a small softbox. I'm going to put it right in the corner. We're going to get a little bit of light coming in, kind of add a little bit of warmth and a little bit of airiness to the image. So why don't we do that? I'll give this back to John. We'll swap. And if you can get that on a light stand for me. And we're going to put it really in the corner. So this is more of a cross-lighting scenario. We're not going to be shooting into the backlight, but we're going to be using it and it's just shooting off the side a little bit, so we're not getting the light actually flaring into the camera. We're not seeing the light stand in it as well. And so we're going to be utilizing those two lights together. So John, from this angle, let me see. Let's get that, make sure it's on first, so that way we don't have to take it down again. That's about good. Yeah, that's good there. I like that. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So now I've directed that light to kind of spill over the bed, over the flowers, and kind of hit the back of her hair and her shoulders as she's sitting there. And what we're going to do is, again, we already have this dialed in. It's all good. We have our ambient light dialed in, which is awesome. So now we're going to add this light. Now, I'm not going to start with TTL again, because if I do that, this light's going to change, and we're going to have to start that process again. So I'm going to basically turn this light off. And I think it is, oh, it's on, so that's good. We're going to make sure that we're going to turn that head off, and I can do that right from the remote, which is really cool. So that is on group A. So when I choose A, and I'm going to turn the head off, and you can see that in the remote with the two dots. So now when I fire, it's only firing that one over there. So perfect. Okay, so let's get that second light going, and let's see what that looks like. All right, here we go. It's the same deal, Sarah. Perfect. Beautiful. Good. Okay, just hang tight there. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Good, good. So right now, Sarah's still giving me some really good poses, but we're ultimately just testing one light. So I like how it's looking right now, but we're going to take it up a little bit. I can change the power, of course, of the light. I don't have to go up to them or anything. I can change it right from my camera, from the remote. So I've bumped it up another stop, and we're just going to do another quick little one right here. Good. So now it's looking really nice. I like the way that looks. So now we're going to now reintroduce this light, and now we're going to have a 2-light setup, okay? So here we go. We're going to turn this on, make sure everything's working, and here we go, putting the two together. Beautiful. Good. Let's see what that looks like there. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay, lean this way for me a little bit. That's it. Beautiful. Good. Awesome. Love that. Good. Good. Yeah, that's perfect right there. And John, actually, you know, I'm going to move this over here just a little bit more. Just want to change it up just a little bit. Right here. Yeah. That's it. Good. Beautiful. And your nose just right here, Sarah, for me. That's it. Gorgeous. Good. Nose here again. That's it. Perfect. Good. Okay, so we're getting, one more right here, actually, and just looking right at the camera with your eyes. That's it. Gorgeous. Good. Okay, so I love how this is turning out. We're having a really nice balance of backlight and key light. Things are coming together. And now what we can do, we can even refine this even more, because even though we're getting light coming in from the back and light coming in from Sarah's right side, we're getting quite a bit of shadow there. And I personally like that. I think it looks really nice. It's kind of my aesthetic that I typically gravitate towards. But just to kind of even it out a little bit more, we can place a reflector, which John's going to grab. And we can kind of play in terms of filling in a little bit more on the shadow side of the face as well. So now we're utilizing 3 different accessories: the Click Octabox, the 1 by 1 or 1.3 by 1.3 softbox right there, both using the A10, and we're using a white and silver Profoto reflector. We're now going to use the white side of that. The silver side obviously gives you a little bit more punch and more highlights as well. So let's get that in, John, right about there. I'm going to get in just a little bit closer because I don't want that in the frame. So we're going to be right there. Beautiful. Good, Sarah. And your nose is just right there. And your eyes back to me again. Good. And get in there nice and close. Beautiful. Love that. That's it. Awesome. Good. Beautiful. Yes, so that's awesome. You guys can see a really big difference in terms of not utilizing that reflector and getting that little bit more light filling in on the shadow side of the face. So I think collectively this is really, really nice. It's got a really warm feel to it. And again, we've now utilized 3 different components and 3 different light sources in a sense to create the scene that we are going for. So I think that's the first one. We're going to move on to the second scene, which is going to be just beside this little setup here. And we're going to utilize 2 flashes again. We're going to start by first looking at the backlight and seeing how that's going to trickle onto the wall and create different shapes there for us. And then we're going to add the Click Softbox as our main light. So let's have some fun and show you guys how we set that up. All right, so we are now on our second setup, and as you can see, I got Sarah to get on a ladder there for me. We figured we're just going to use a prop that's currently here that can create a pretty interesting photograph. So we're going to utilize this. We're going to use the wainscoting and sort of the shapes in the background, and we're going to try to give them a bit more shape by utilizing light there. So what I want to do is, Profoto has a new OCF2 barn door, and so John, if you want to hand that to me. So this is an OCF edition, meaning it will fit the B10X and B10X Plus. But as you saw, now we can utilize the OCF bracket adapter and utilize the A10 and A1X as well for this. So ultimately what this is going to do is we can now control how that light's going to spill. Now it's a little bit different than a grid. It's not going to just contain the beam for you. It's just going to prevent where the light will or will not spill. So we're going to play with this a little bit. We're going to put that in the corner, and we're going to start with our backlight. And we're going to see where that is going to hit the wall and what shapes we're going to get there. And then at the end, we're going to add our key light. And that's usually my process when working with multiple lights, always starting from the background and working my way to the foreground. What you don't want to do if you're new at off-camera lighting is to kind of turn all your lights on at the same time and start firing everything. And Profoto might do a great job with the TTL, and it might give you really good ratios, and you might be off to a good start, but you want to understand kind of what it is that you're doing and how, what levels the lights are at, and how to control them. So we're going to start with one light at a time. It's the easiest. And so we're going to put this guy on the back, John. Perfect. Let's go. Let's get it in tight just to see what that's going to look like. I'm going to grab my camera. We're still going to use the same lens. So we've been using the 50 1.2 G Master lens from Sony. Amazing lens, extremely sharp. It's becoming one of my favorite lenses. I'm not really a 50 millimeter guy, but this is definitely a lens that keeps showing up attached to the camera more often than I thought it would. We're also utilizing the Sony Alpha 1 for this as well. That's my camera of choice, and it's been really fun to photograph with it over the last couple of months. So let's see what that. Okay, so that's looking okay, but you know what, John? I think we're getting a weird shape. A little bit from the barn door there. Why don't we open that up a little bit and see what that's going to look like. So Sarah's just being patient as as we try to set that up. So lighting takes some time sometimes too. You don't want to rush through the process because you really want to really be in control of where those lights are going to be. So that looks okay, John. Can you also put the bottom one down for me and turn the light more towards Sarah? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's good. And turn it this way. Yeah, good. Okay. Yes, I like that. So as you can see, guys, perhaps the light now, we're getting a little bit of a rim light here. Okay, we're getting some light on the shoulders, some light on the ladder. And so that's a really nice place to start. So this one, our main light is not in the picture right now. We're basically going to turn that off again, just so it doesn't go on. And we're going to start with our ambient light. Okay, again, we're going to start. We're at 125th of a second, ISO 100. Let's go to f4. And that should give us a pretty blank frame, which is great. So that's what we have. So we're going to start now, and we're going to utilize the backlight. So that is on B. We're going to go to TTL. We're going to see what that looks like. Good. Perfect. Okay, so not bad. So now, because we're firing only the backlight, and we're utilizing TTL, it thinks it's the only light in the scene, right? So it's giving me a little bit of a brighter exposure than I actually want. So I'm going to lock this in. It's looking pretty good, but I'm going to take it down maybe a stop. And let's see what that's going to look like now. Good. Perfect. So it's very moody. I like the way that looks. Perfect. Okay. So John, let's get the Click Octabox here. Okay, good. Let's get it a little bit closer in this time. Yeah, right about there. And it's just outside of frame, which is great. So we have that one set up. Now we're going to get this this main light on. So it has the A10 on it, as it did previously. Okay, we're going to turn it on now. Okay, make sure it's firing. Everything's looking good. Perfect. So for this one, Sarah, we want a bit of a whimsical, a little bit of movement. And we're going to add in a little bit of movement afterwards, John. So let's just get the exposure. Okay, good. Let's see. So now, guys, I kind of rushed through that. So I'm going to explain kind of what I did. We set the main light up, okay, and we basically had it at TTL. The TTL chose an exposure. I didn't really like it. It was a little bit too bright for me, so I took it down. I locked that into manual. So now everything remains constant. We're working with one light at a time. So now that we're adding in the main light or the key light, it's at whatever power we left it at. And my first shot told me that it was actually a little bit underpowered. And now it's a little bit of a different distance than it was before. And I'm also now shooting at f4, and I was shooting at a wider aperture previously. So now we have to make that adjustment. Again, we're not going to start again from TTL. We're now going to just adjust this manually and creep it up a little bit as we go. So I'm going to go 2 stops up on this one. Let's see what that's going to look like. And that looks really good. I'm going to go just a little bit lower. That's it. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, good stuff. So now I'm going to basically check where the light is hitting the model, okay? Because I noticed there is quite a bit of shadow on the side of her face here. So I want to make sure, if I walk behind her, I see that it's perfectly right in line with her head. What I want to do is I want to feather that light a little bit so more of it reaches this side of her face. So the easiest way to do that is we're just going to feather it out a little bit. So meaning the light isn't hitting her directly on, it's hitting her almost just past her face. And it looks a little bit weird when you're setting up the light, because people are like, maybe they're thinking like, why is the light set up to hit right here when our model is actually about 2 feet this way? And that's because the light spills not only from the center but also from the sides. It gives you a really nice softer edge light there. So let's see what that looks like. Good. Okay, that's perfect. So I love that. This is really, really good. Sarah, I'm gonna get your nose, just your chin up just a little bit for me. And I want you to just kind of peer off to the corner of that room. That's it, good. Good, chin up even more, yeah, that's it. That looks beautiful. Let's add in some movement. So I'm gonna get John to kind of, I don't know, feather the dress a little bit. Now, I don't have my shutter speed down quite low to give you that effect, but that's something that we can work towards. But I think in this case, just to show you that you can just do something a little bit more than just that static portrait, we're just going to kind of play with it and see what happens. So chin up all the way up to there. Nice movement. You're having fun. You're on a ladder in the wind somewhere. That's it. Awesome. Give me a little bit of space between here. Yeah, as if you're picking up the dress almost a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Gorgeous. Good. Give me one to the camera. That's it. Chin up a bit. That's it. Gorgeous. Yeah. Let's do a couple more looking that way. Amazing. Good. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So that looks really, really cool, really fun. So again, if you're on a photo shoot, you know, and sometimes at weddings, people will rent out studios like this one for the wedding day. This is really, you know, a really great space where you can utilize a lot of props. So just kind of look around. We found a ladder. We thought we'd do something a little bit different. And so this was our second setup. Again, we utilized the Click Softbox with the A10 on top as our main light, and a B10X as our B10X Plus actually, as our backlight with the OCF2 barn doors to create the scene that you see in front of you. So we're going to do another setup, so stay tuned. Okay guys, we are now on our third scene. We're going to utilize a little bit of the wall features that the studio has. So as you can see behind me, we have three little pillars, if you want to call them that, little accents on the wall. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to put Sarah sort of in between them and work with them as another kind of visual, an interesting visual element in our photograph. So what I want to do for this one is I want to start it out maybe doing a little bit of silhouette work. And I do that often too when on a wedding day, maybe in the hall or even outside in the hallway where we have a little bit of time. I'll take a couple out and do more of if I think of a wedding album and I think of sort of the ending to a wedding album, it oftentimes makes for a really nice ending to a wedding album where we have a silhouette of the couple, for example. So we don't have obviously two people here, so we're just going to show you that, how to create that with Sarah. So we're going to utilize a new OCF accessory, actually a couple of them. And so Profoto has released OCF2 accessories. So they're sort of the next versions of the OCF accessories that we're used to, but now we're utilizing magnets. So our grid and gel holders are now magnetic. So I have a red gel, it's called Scarlet. And ultimately, all we have to do is just put them in there and they magnet on very, very easily. So now, if you guys remember the older accessories, we had sort of plasticky gels that we had to clamp together into a frame and then insert that frame into a grid holder. We are now basically have individual magnetic colors that we can utilize for our gel system. And now on top of that, we can also throw a grid on. Whoa! Ah, good reflexes, still have them. So we can now basically stack these together. If we wanted to add a third color, we can also do that on top. But basically, that's the new system. So we're going to play with that a little bit. We're going to utilize a little bit of color and create a little bit of shape from Sarah, as in her silhouette. So John, why don't we get this on? I have a B10X in the back, meaning behind Sarah. And we're going to first work with that light. And what I want to do is I want to create sort of a sphere of light behind her. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to position the light away from the wall at a certain distance. And I say it's about 2 feet right now away from the wall. And as you can you may be able to see that in the video. I'll obviously be showing you the photographs as well, but there's a circle of light now. If we took that gel or the grid off completely, we would just have, you know, a very uncontrolled light spill. So now we're creating and making it a little bit of a sphere, which is nice. So Sarah's going to look this way. She's going to be profiled to me, and I'm going to take my first shot. I'm going to keep the settings. Let's say I'm going to go to, let's change things up a little bit. We'll go to F8. ISO 100 and 1/200th of a second. And that's going to give me a black screen, basically. Meaning all I've done is I've taken every light that we have here, that's ambient light, including the modeling light from the flash, the video light that's lighting me, the ambient light in the room, and I've completely got rid of them. So the only thing in the frame now is going to be the light that I will fire from the remote. So let's go to TTL. Let's see what Profoto will do for me. So Sarah, I want you to take a step forward, just like a tiny little bit. Sorry, forward, you're forward. Yeah, right there. That's it. Good. Perfect. Okay, so it's good, but it's a little bit too hot for me, a little bit too bright. I'm going to take it down. I'm going to go to a stop less. Let's see what that does. Good. Okay. I'm still going to take it down maybe another two stops, because what's happening is the light it's quite bright. It's quite dark in here now. So the light, the TTL, wants to light up the entire room. So I don't want it to do that. I want it to be very concentrated on just the wall. And so we're losing a little bit of that color. So I want to make sure that we retain all the color we have on that light that's there currently. So let's see. Good. Okay, I'm going to do one more, Sarah. Good. Okay, and I think we're almost there, guys. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Good. Okay, and last test shot here. Make sure we're good. That's it. Perfect. So it's exactly where I want. Now we can keep her. Sorry, you're going to keep your the body the way it was. We're just going to find the spot now. This is going to be the final frame where we want to line up her head in that little circle, almost like a little halo going over here. Okay. Yeah, that looks great. Perfect. Very mysterious. Very different. So now what we're going to do, we want to add a little bit of light. So if we're done with the silhouette, we got the shot that we want, why don't we utilize a key light? So now we're going to be able to bring in some of her facial features into the frame without it just being a black silhouette. So we're going to utilize the A10 with the new Click Softbox or Octabox. And we're also going to use the Softgrids. So we're going to now test how far from the wall the light needs to be in order not to have any spill there. So John, why don't we do that? So Sarah, you're still looking straight ahead. And so what I've asked John to do is, so John, if you could just bring this over. Yeah, that's it. Actually go back that way a little bit. That's it. Perfect. So now we're pointing that light right here, okay? And we're going to see how much of that light is going to spill onto the side of her face. And what we can do now is, as we take those shots, we can keep moving the light closer and closer to the wall, and then we can see how much of her face is going to be lit. Okay, so it's more of a little test that we're going to do, but it's going to get us to our destination eventually. So let's have a look. Okay, good. I'm going to turn this on. So, John, I'm not sure if that's on. What's that? Yeah, so head off, so that means I've turned it off, which is good. We do want it back on now. And now I see it. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, so now it's going to take we're going to take a little bit of time here to now get the right amount of light coming in from that, because now we've gone to f11. Okay, so we've really closed down our aperture. We need a lot more light. So we're going to keep adding light as we go here. I'm going to go 3 stops up, and I'm at 1/200th of a second, f11, 100 ISO. And that's much brighter. Now we're getting a little bit of light. That's great. So I'm going to bump it up one more. Here we go. Good. Okay, John, let's start moving that light. Let's move the light right over here now. Yeah, good. Let's keep that there. And you're going to see the difference of how that light's hitting her face. Good. Perfect. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, John, let's move it over here. Maybe a little less, maybe go just right up there. And see now, so now that light is basically behind her and only a little bit of it is hitting her face. We'll see how much. Good. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now things are looking a little bit different. But the trade-off is this, that now we've moved the light closer to the wall. It does have a grid set on it, so it isn't spilling a lot of light back there. But now, eventually, as we get closer and closer to this wall, this light is eventually going to end up on the back of this wall. So there has to be this fine line of how much of that light do you want spilling onto this, or how much you don't want of that light spilling on. So I think I liked it better a little bit, maybe in the middle here. I think it was a nice compromise. So we're going to take a couple more shots here. That's it. Good. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. And now what we can do also is now bring that light that's currently lighting the background a little bit closer to Sarah, and that circle is going to open up and light a lot more of the scene. So why don't we do that, John? Bring it a little bit closer, almost like right next to her. Keep going. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so as you can see, that circle has gotten bigger now. We're going to do a couple more. That's it. Good. Good, perfect. And John, now let's take the grid off and just use the red, and let's see how that looks. And I want to show you guys the differences. So we've basically taken off a 30-degree grid right now. That's currently on the B10X Plus in the back there. And so now, as you see, the circle's almost gone, and now we should get a lot more light spilling in different spots here. Good. Yeah, that's perfect. Love that. Beautiful. And Sarah, give me one looking down a little bit. Yeah, and do me a favor, can you take a step back? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Great. Yeah, keep that. That's beautiful. Keep that. Good. Okay, this is really nice. Keep doing that, Sarah, just like you were. And John, let's move this light now. So as you guys can see, her face now moved from here. It moved this way. So now I want to bring that light and get a little bit of light on this side of her cheek there. So let's see what this looks like. I'm really liking how this looks. And this is kind of how we build our scenes here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, I got to get this light a little closer. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to just take the light up in power. So I'm going to go another 2 stops. Here we go. Beautiful. Good, 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 good. Okay, John, bring it a little bit closer in. Yeah, right there. Beautiful. Keep that. Beautiful, Sarah. Good. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Awesome. So you guys can see the difference now, how we've basically gone from a silhouette to a silhouette with a little bit of detail in the face. Then we've changed the background altogether just by removing a 30-degree grid. We kept the color gel on just for that ambient. We're now starting to see more of the pillars, which is really nice. So it's creating a very different look. And now Sarah's not just looking profile to the camera, she's now starting to look towards us, and we're getting a little bit of light on here just by utilizing the Click Softbox with the soft grid, keeping that light from spilling onto the background. So again, on a wedding day, this is kind of what makes it really fun for me personally. When we're walking into spaces, oftentimes we don't get to see what they're like. We don't know, maybe if it's a venue we've never photographed at, or a hotel room that we've never been in, a different city, so different spaces. And it's up to us as photographers to really create really cool scenes, something a little bit different from our clients, adding a little bit of interest, adding that creativity. Ultimately, that's what we're getting hired for. So John, if you want to hand me that Click Softbox, that would be awesome. And to wrap up, guys, I mean, wedding season's coming up. I hope you guys are ready to really get working this year. I certainly am. Things are filling up, which is really great. This is an accessory that I think is a must-have for wedding photographers, especially if you're using smaller lights. Now, I often utilize the A10 or the A10X, usually in the hotel rooms when it's the getting ready part of the day. and oftentimes I need something a little bit softer than just this small light source. So this is exactly what's going to be coming with me to the wedding shoots this year, and I'm really looking forward to utilizing this. And when we pack up, John's going to really appreciate that we're going to just do this and be done and be on our way to the next getting ready location for the groom or the bride. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.